Welcome to the PaynePoints Podcast. We enjoy telling the stories of everyday people, whether that be small business owners, entrepreneurs, or people with a passion for their community. We want to highlight them and give them a platform to share their story. So grab your favorite beverage and join us on today's episode where we tell the story of someone just like you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Sarah Harbuck, and sitting in the co-host seat with me today is our producer, Megan Harbuck.
Hello.
Our special guest is Veronica Medina of the Spud here in Lufkin, Texas. Hello, Veronica.
Hello. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us
Of
on
course.
this really nasty weather day. This is kind of the weather where you just don't want to leave your house or get out of bed.
Yeah,
Or do work. So thank you for making the effort to come and do this with us.
Of course. I love you guys. I see y'all's content all the time, and I appreciate
awesome.
everything you guys do.
Well,
Thank you.
the Spud is one of our favorite places as a family, and so we were super excited when you guys agreed to come on.
Oh, thank you.
A little backstory. You are the daughter of the owners.
I am, yes.
So tell us a little bit about your family life and your mom and your dad and your siblings and where you grew up and all those fun little things that,
All
people
the fun
want to know.
things. Yeah. Well, so first of all, yes, I'm Veronica. Both of my parents, so Louis Medina and Julia Medina, they own the original Spud on Chestnut. So my dad and my mom actually both were born in Mexico.
Oh, cool.
And they came over really young. My dad actually went to school in Diboll. My mom went to school here in Lufkin. They're both graduates. And, they got married. They had me. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
And then they had my little brother. They only had the two of us. So, we born and raised here. Both my brother and I went to Hudson and, all of our lives. And,
So really an East Texas family.
East Texas for sure.
Transplanted from Mexico.
From Mexico, yeah. And then, so I currently live in San Marcos, and my brother's actually in the Marines. And
Oh, wow. That's
was,
awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? We're so proud of him.
Thank you for his service.
I know. He's great. He was stationed in San Diego, and he was actually a drill instructor for 3 years up until this year.
Oh, wow.
And now poor guy is stationed in Hawaii.
Oh, wow. That's just like the worst gig ever.
I know. So him and his wife and their dog Mo, they live in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
And,
I'm jealous.
I know. I am too. I'm like, when can we visit you? And they just bought a house, so
That's great.
we're so proud of them.
Very cool.
And, we're a very close family, and so they hate that we're so far, but we try to come as often as we can.
Definitely sounds like a vacation/family reunion situation that you'd want to have.
I know. I'm like, we have to go.
Yeah, Hawaii. Which island?
That I wish I knew.
Okay.
They just bought the house, so
Okay.
I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, I know like the big ones and that's it.
Yeah.
So I feel really stupid because that's like, a state in the United States
Oh,
and
I
I'm not as
know.
familiar with all the little nuances that I should be because I'm a bad person, I guess.
No. I think that's normal. It's normal.
So do you take part in any of the running of the Spud, or are you just the spokesperson for the Spud right now?
So I do a lot of the marketing.
Okay.
So I director of marketing and like social media.
Okay.
And checking in and making sure things are running properly. I don't want to say like I run the place, but I help my parents, run and do.
Usually with family businesses, everybody, it's like all hands on deck.
All hands.
Typically,
you do
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you do that. I know when we
Yeah.
started Standpipe, our children were involved. Even
I worked
way back
there
when.
for 5 years.
Oh my goodness!
So-
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's
We know all about family business.
Yep. Right. Working with family, it can
Yes.
be fun and it can be a challenge.
It can for sure. All of the things for sure.
Did you grow up wanting to did your family, was a restaurant business always a thing for you guys or?
Not really, honestly. I know my dad actually worked at Temple Inland in Diboll for 18 years. And
Wow.
then, the economy went down in like 2008 and he actually got laid off, unfortunately, and did a couple of other things. And, he was tired of that. He didn't want to depend on someone else. So then, they started looking at different opportunities. My mom's an amazing cook, amazing Mexican food. I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, please cook for me. But
I bet your Mother's Day was amazing yesterday.
well, we went to my grandma, so even more amazing.
Yes.
Yes. So So they were thinking of maybe doing that like later in life, and this wasn't, like I said, 2000. I don't know if I mentioned it, but 2011.
Okay.
And they were going to open up a Mexican restaurant, and then the Spud just happened to be for sale, and then they decided to just jump on in and say, hey, let's see if this works. So it was
purchasing an already existing business. Was that, did maybe not ever having had experience in the restaurant business before, did they find that to be somewhat easier since it already kind of had a customer base established and a name recognition happening?
I think it did make them feel a little bit better.
Because I didn't know it ever changed hands. I just assumed that it was still owned by the same people.
And I think the person that we bought it from was like the second owner.
Okay.
And so, they only had that one location, the one that we have on Chestnut. And they felt a little better. Like you said, it was already established. And so, they just kind of try to build it back up to what it had been before.
Okay.
They spoke to a lot of people. They put signs. They did put some signs out front that said, under new management. And, the traffic just increased after that for sure.
Yeah, there's always a line around the building.
Always.
So I know when I say I'm going to go get food and I'm like, I'm going to go get something from the Spud, they're like, oh, we'll see you in about 40 minutes.
I know.
The line is so long, which is a good problem to have.
It's a great problem.
I'm exaggerating. It doesn't take that long, guys. It's more like 15 minutes maybe. But,
But when you're hungry, you're like, I need my food
this
now.
takes forever.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, that location was right there at the entrance of my parents' neighborhood.
Oh.
And so I remember it being there when I was younger and when I was in high
goodness.
school and went to the high school that was across the street from y'all's
Yes,
location.
my mom went
now
there.
it's in a different spot, but that's how old I am because that's when the high school was there.
I see.
So yeah, I remember even back then and get walking up and ordering.
No way.
And, so it's been a long time thing.
Awesome. I love that.
And that's cool that you guys kept that tradition alive.
Yes. We wanted to, and we didn't want to. We first were thinking of maybe incorporating more Mexican food, but I just felt like at that time, or we, I guess, all felt like it was a little too much. Let's keep it the same. And so that's what we've been doing.
We should probably mention that the Spud really only specializes in baked potatoes.
Yes.
Of different
There
varieties.
we go. We can talk about that.
I think there's some taco salad options.
We have great salads.
Yes. Yeah, the salads are great too.
So great. And
Frito pie,
pies, nachos, hot dogs, barbecue on a
I don't think
bun.
that we had mentioned what the Spud
I
had,
know.
so I wanted to clarify that.
Yes,
sorry.
I
was so excited. I've been eating there for decades, and to me,
Everyone
it's
should
everybody knows what the Spud serves. But yeah, that's great.
There's something for everybody, I think.
And every kind of topping imaginable. You can get the traditional, butter, sour cream, cheese, bacon bits, chives, or you can get something crazy there's
half and
chicken
half.
fried steak and gravy, barbecue. Isn't there a shrimp option?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hallucinated that then.
We're probably trying to wish it into existence.
I don't really actually eat seafood, but I thought there was was it crawfish?
There's, I think, a different Spud place in Nacogdoches that may do that. I don't know.
Maybe.
That may be theirs. There's a lot of potato places.
Their menu is huge, and there's a bajillion options.
Yes.
And so if you're like, well, I don't really like that kind of topping, there's 50 others to choose from.
And then you can even customize your own. We have a lot of customers that are like, okay, I don't want this, I want that. Add extra this, add extra that.
Yeah.
And then when I come, I'm like, I want everything.
Yeah.
So
I'm a traditionalist. I like it just loaded up with all the cheese and sour cream and chives and butter that you can possibly find, and I will stuff my face.
I get the number 22, which I believe is the gravy, jalapenos, and steak fingers.
Oh,
That one's really good. I'll switch between the chicken option and the steak option one, but that's really good. I like the, I don't remember which number this one is, but it's the taco salad baked potato where it's got taco meat and salsa and lettuce and tomatoes.
Yeah,
it's
a lot of people love
good.
that one. I think my aunt helped come up with that one. She was like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I was about to ask, did y'all add to the menu after y'all took over?
We did.
I don't remember it having that much on there before.
I honestly can't remember how many options we had at the beginning. It was 10 years ago in 2011. But, our location, I believe, has 19 options. So, I really don't know.
Yeah.
But we definitely added. And then we, have a lot of desserts. Mm-hmm. We have
pies and
the carrot cake. I'm sorry.
The carrot cake.
Yes, my grandma, who actually passed a few years ago, it's her recipe.
Oh,
I know.
Nice.
And you can actually, you can buy the batter at our location, and so you just take it home. Like, we have a lot of customers that are like, hey, I'm traveling to, a different state. Yeah. But we love your cake, and so we'll give them the batter, we'll give them the icing, and then they just take it home and make it on their own.
Nice.
It's really awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
I love those kind of places that incorporate family recipes like that, because it tastes so much more like my grandma made it.
Yeah.
We're all trying to relive that nostalgia think that hey, my grandma made that.
Yes.
So you handle the marketing and the social media.
I do.
Did you go to school for that?
I did not.
Okay.
Not at all. I actually went to school for my degrees in psychology and my minors in criminal justice.
Okay.
Wow.
So my full-time job, I'm actually a legal advocate for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault and child abuse. So
that's
Thank you for what you do.
Good cause. Yeah. Very hard cause. I think that it has to be so emotionally heavy for you.
It can be a lot. You have to focus on self-compassion, self-care all the time, because it can be a lot for sure. Leave it at work. Don't do it on your off time. So.
I think I'm one of those kind of people. I would have a hard time. I mean, I'm sure that they teach you in school how to compartmentalize and sort of try to separate yourself, but still can be compassionate and what have you. And I think I would have a really hard time turning that off, because my mind just will start thinking about the situation and, oh, I could have done this more to help, or can we do this? Just constantly thinking about whatever. Yeah. So I can't imagine. That's got to be a hard thing to juggle.
It's taken me a while. Like, it's weird that we got the Spud. My brother joined the Marines, and I, started my professional job same month of the same year, September of 2011. And so I've been doing it for 10 years now, and
so you got your system down.
Yes. And it took a while, because it can be hard. It can. But that's what I do.
So this job offers a little bit more of a lightness to your life. Where you don't have to focus on the heavy things of the world. Right. Running social media. What's funny is I don't think a lot of people actually go to school for that. It's just because of the world we live in and the nature of, our internet experience and the way people do business now.
It's all
you're going to have to know.
Or learn as you go.
Yeah.
I
sure
as heck didn't go to school for it, and it's my full-time job.
I was going to say, oh my goodness. No, and it's harder than you would think.
Yes,
for
absolutely.
Sure. And realizing what your target audience likes or what they don't like, and you're like, oh, like no one looked at that. And so just figuring that out is a process.
Okay, so running their social media, I'm guessing posting on Instagram or Facebook, what are the images that really grab people's attention for you guys?
The actual food.
The food. Yep.
The food. And I've noticed, incorporating our customers. Customers like to be involved. And so I'll go and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take a picture of you? And they love it. Most of them say yes. Other people are too shy, and that's fine, and I respect that. But they want to be involved, and people love seeing the food always. And I do little boomerangs here and there, and just anything. I'm like, sometimes there's so much you can do with a potato, right?
Yeah. Do you guys ever do polls, which topping is your favorite, and have people decide?
I love that.
Is it cheese or is it bacon or is it gravy? Is it butter? I'm
gonna do that.
Thanks,
now.
Mom. Yeah. That is a great idea for my social for this.
I didn't think I had seen that, but I'm always wondering when I do see food related social media posts for businesses and they do stuff like that, I'm always like, I'm gonna click my favorite. I want my favorite to win.
With the bacon.
Bacon on everything.
I know. Yeah. That's a good idea, though. I love that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
impart some
brainstorming during the
podcast.
I can use all the help.
We just do everything we can in these things.
I love it.
So your dad had a career in another industry for a very long time. Right. Your mom probably as well, stay-at-home mom maybe, or had her own career. You and your brother have your own things. When you're running a family business and you work with people who you've lived with, there's challenges. What habits do you guys have that have set you up for success or positivity, in working with each other and in running the business, for this last decade?
Right. So, I mean, like you said, they're my parents, and my parents have always instilled in both my brother and I, and even cousins and other family members, that, working hard is important and being very respectful. I mean, all these just great values that we have definitely incorporated into the Spud too. Hard work, dedication, and then being financially responsible. That's something that I feel like not a lot of children learn all the time. And they taught us very young. And so, you know, my dad and mom, like, they don't necessarily just jump into, hey, let's just try this without actually thinking about it.
Research and analyzing and all the things that come into.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot because, you know, we're not a huge corporation, right? We're
and you could be
business.
risking a lot of money on some wild pie in the sky idea that may not pan out, and then you're really in trouble. It's really hard for small businesses to take those bigger gambles because there's so much riding on it, and then you've got employees that you're responsible for their livelihood.
I know.
And so having owned a business where that's the case for us, we've had that same let's make good financial decisions so that we can keep paying people, especially when the lockdown happened last year.
Oh my goodness.
We closed down for a little while to revamp things and reassess things and kind of change cleaning protocols and get things in place so that we could reopen and it would be safe for our employees or safer. Right. And now we've finally opened up the lobby again because all the employees are now fully vaccinated. So it was like we didn't want to risk their health and there's been that element of people not being very happy about having to wear a mask and to wear, to order. And so having to deal with that. But you want to be able to, when you have that responsibility of other people relying on you financially, you want to be good stewards with your money.
For sure. And we love our staff. I mean, love them. We do
They're so friendly, too.
They are. I love them. I mean, actually, I may not say this. Well, they won't listen to it. But today's Mexican Mother's Day, and we have 2 women there that are moms, and so I went and got them flowers, and I'm actually going to take it to them today because we just want to make sure that they feel valued and appreciated and keep that going. And because it's hard to find. You can't
find that sort of one-on-one care at a corporate job typically.
Right.
So sometimes there's benefits to working for mom and pop places because people remember your birthday and, take the time to bring special flowers to the employees and things like that. So.
And then getting together. I know big corporations, they do have let's say a Christmas party or dress up for Halloween.
Weekend.
Right. Let's hang out. We actually have Christmas parties, at my parents' house. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so great. We have piñatas. They can bring their children. It's just a huge, huge thing that we love because we, again, like you said, just want to make sure everyone just feels
like family and community.
And they do. Yeah. And I love that. So I appreciate that about my parents.
I think you hang on to people longer when you treat them
like humans.
Yeah. Rather than worker bees.
Correct.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing in today's world, especially with everything we're seeing.
For sure.
So, good deal.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you guys have any, anybody or anything that, inspires y'all in terms of, serving the community or just building, a strong, stable business?
Yeah. So, I mean, my dad just, when he was younger, my grandparents actually had small little things that they would do on the side. And I feel like my dad wanted to continue that, right? And, just the hard work ethic and just being able to be successful and not having to depend on, anyone else for that, but, himself and, our family. So, yeah, just that. And, my dad is very shy, very quiet, very soft-spoken, but he cannot sit still. So him being an owner is great because he is the most involved. He's always there. If he's not there, he's buying the supplies. He's doing so much, and I mean, he just loves that. So he's a hard worker and just helping out.
Sounds like my dad. He can't sit still either.
Isn't it crazy?
I don't know if it's a generation thing because I'm just I'm tired. My brain hurts. I need to sit here for
chill. No, he's always doing even something at home, just redoing something. He loves to build cars and redo classic cars and I mean, I think I got away from the subject, but he can be an inspiration. He is
to everybody.
He really is, and I feel like even 2 people in the community see him and they're very inspired by him.
Definitely.
Right. Both of my parents, they didn't go to college, and they just jumped in and they're successful. Yeah. And that's
huge.
It's huge, especially in a community where we do have a lot of other Latinos, and inspiring them to take that jump, see if you can do it. Definitely try for sure. And we definitely love that.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
Thanks.
Do you guys have any like things that y'all do outside of work? Hobbies, interests? Do your parents, is he like to hunt or golf or?
So my dad has always loved to ride motorcycles.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Always. And he's had a few. And so that's definitely something that he's very passionate about.
Okay.
So he'll just say, hey, I'm going with some friends and we're going to drive to Missouri. And we're like, cool, go for it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his time.
That
and
is like definitely a motorcycle culture thing where they'll just like plan a trip and they all just jump on their motorcycles and go.
Yes. And it's usually the guys, but every once in a while my mom will be like, I'm going to. So then it's the men and then their spouses, their wives. And so, I mean, we have tons of pictures of them doing that. They're like here and then they're over there. And I don't know. So that's one thing he loves. And he also loves to, like I said earlier, restore cars. Like my brother actually, when he was in high school, my dad gifted him a 1969 Chevy pickup.
Oh, wow.
That they had redone and, remodeled by themselves. And someone wrecked into my brother's. They redid it. And then my dad has a Bel Air. I mean, like, he has so many cars that he's doing. I don't even know the names of them.
If I were still into photography, I'd have to contact him about using some for photo shoots.
Yes.
Maybe for some videos.
Yes, for sure.
That's awesome.
He would love that.
Rides motorcycles, restores cars.
He's a cool guy.
What can he do? What can he not do?
I know.
It seems like he can do everything.
Yes, and people don't realize.
Run a restaurant.
Yeah.
That's a hard job.
It's a hard job, for
Oy.
sure. I know. And so my dad, he's like the handyman. He knows how to do everything. Mm-hmm. And I love that. And people don't realize when they come to my parents' house that my parents, some people build their houses, right? But when they say, hey, I built my house, they mean they contacted this company. Right. No, they were physically there putting up walls, putting up the framing, putting up like everything.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah.
We hired professionals for some things, but then we did the rest of it. Yeah.
And that's how he knows how to do everything. I'm like, oh my goodness, I love that. It's rare now to see that. So and he loves movies. He may fall asleep if it's a boring movie. But then my mom and I are stuck there watching it because we're hooked at that point.
Right. I got to see how this ends. Is it going to be better than I think?
Right. So, I mean, they just love to do so many different things. That's cool. And growing up, we would go camping every summer at Gardner State Park. Okay, and oh my gosh, that was a tradition. So we want to keep that going. But with my brother being in, now Hawaii, and then me being in San Marcos, it can be a little hard now that we're older.
Yeah. That's the thing when the birds fly the nest.
I know.
They go do their own thing.
I know.
But, it makes it that much special when you can make the time to do it.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's good to hear that a small business owner has the time to be able to work on their hobbies and such.
Yes.
Because a lot of the time we do get a lot of people in here who, unfortunately, that's all they have time for.
Right.
Especially a lot of the startups that we get, people who've only been in business for about a year. They're like, I don't really have any hobbies.
I don't have time. But, decade makes a big difference when you've got an established business.
It does. And we, like I was mentioning earlier, we love our staff and we trust our staff. And so, when my brother got married in California, he was able to get his manager, his name is Daniel, to cover the business for the week or however long they were gone. Mm-hmm. And being able to do that, because at first we didn't have that. We didn't have the time. He didn't have the time, only had a Sunday off because we're open every other day of the week. And so slowly you start building that trust, building those relationships, and, getting that free time.
And if you don't let go of some of that stuff, you're going to just burn yourself out. Oh,
for sure. And burnout is bad.
Yeah.
Trust me.
What about for you with your full-time job? What kind of hobbies and self-care things do you do for yourself?
So since I live in San Marcos, I'm very fortunate. I know. I mean, I love it. I bought a house there a few years ago. I go to the river. Yeah. I go to the river, and especially during weekdays.
Tubing is like one of my favorite things to do because
it's
not very expensive and you get to just enjoy and
just be free.
And the water is super cold. And when it's 110 degrees, it feels amazing.
For sure. I love it. Yeah. And so our work week is strange. It starts on a Wednesday, ends on a Tuesday. So I can't work over 40 hours. So if I do during the week and then it's a Tuesday and I'm like, hey, I got to leave like at noon because I've overworked myself, which I tend to do. Then I'll just say, hey, I'm going to go to the river, or I'm going to go here, or I'm going to go visit friends. I'm going to, just a lot of things that are different than what I was used to here at home. Because unfortunately here, there's we don't have a river. We don't have things that are just free that you can get up and go to,
Mm-hmm.
and or it's so far away. It's like 5 minutes from my house over there.
Yeah.
That's great.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah, I've been telling the kids we should probably go to the river at some point because it's one of the best times we spent with friends, and you know, it's just you get to be in this really pretty environment and it doesn't cost a lot, and it really restores your inner peace.
It does. It does. So I have that there, and I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right, so we have a rapid fire question section.
Okay.
I did not send these to you, so you could not prepare.
So these you answer for you.
Oh, for me.
Yeah,
not my parents. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you have something interesting to say about that, that's fine too.
I
But
throw
yeah,
that in there. Okay.
So Megan, take it away.
All right, so just answer as soon as this first thing comes to your head.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
What did you have for breakfast?
A yogurt.
Okay. How do you take your coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
I'm with you right there. What is your favorite song right now?
Oh my goodness. There's this artist named Maluma, and I love him, and he has a song called Hawaii, and I cannot get it out of my head.
Nice.
Cannot get it out of my head.
Okay.
Are you currently watching a TV show, and if so, which show?
Oh my gosh, I watch too many. The Voice, I love. I also love This Is Us and New Amsterdam.
I watched This Is Us.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
it's like my weekly counseling session.
Yeah.
I feel.
Love it.
Yes.
What is your favorite book?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
That one always stumps people.
Yeah,
So hard to choose just one.
It is. I mean, I know back in the day, like I used to, when I was in high school, I would read the Chicken Soup for Soul, the Soul books.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I can't think of any like recently.
That's fine.
I mean, that's a part of your life.
Yes, it is.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate mixed with strawberry, and I know that's not one flavor, but
No, but I love that because me too.
Okay.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke, but it's not a huge thing for me.
Okay.
I love both.
Sweet or salty?
That one's hard. We'll do sweet because chocolate, you know.
Absolutely.
Same.
The beach or the mountains? Though I have a hunch I'll know what you say.
Probably the beach, but if I could throw river, I'll throw river in there, even though it's not an option.
Okay, great.
I feel that.
What's your zodiac sign?
Cancer.
Me too.
Oh, yay.
Love that. Spring, summer, fall, or winter?
Oh, between spring and summer.
Introvert or extrovert?
Naturally, I'm an introvert, but I can definitely be an extrovert.
Perfect. What's your favorite color?
Blue.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
I've had it. I do watch Good Mythical Morning.
Oh, great. I'm so glad. She's the first one who's gotten the reference. Yes.
I was like,
I'm
so glad.
Congratulations, Veronica.
What do
you
I
win
win?
the prize of being smarty pants.
of being our first mythical beast as a guest.
Yes. I've recently gotten into them, and I'm like, I'm addicted.
Yeah, they're great.
They are. I love them. Link, I don't know why he's hilarious and my favorite. I love both of them, but we'll say it is.
Okay. What is your favorite social media platform?
I would love to love Instagram more, but I love Facebook because more family and friends are on there.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had this question asked of us when we were doing an interview, which was very surprising. Nobody's asked us these questions before. What are 3 things that you would like to be remembered for?
Oh my goodness. My compassion, my loyalty, and my ability to make sure everybody feels welcome.
I love it.
Yeah.
Those are really important.
Yeah.
You can tell your parents really instilled great values in your family.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And they're not ones to brag about themselves.
Sure.
I mean, that's what I'm here for.
I love it.
Toot their horn a little bit.
Yes, because they will not do that.
With the train doing it for us in the background.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. I do now, though.
All right, well, getting back into the more business side of the Spud, you said that you guys purchased it from an existing owner.
Correct.
So it was already kind of established, but, how did you guys go about making it your own once you took over? Yeah,
so we definitely wanted to keep the same thing. Like I said, the same way of producing or making the potatoes, all of that, but just
don't reinvent the wheels. What you're saying?
Correct.
Gotcha.
And we just wanted to maybe advertise more and figure out how to do that, because in 2011 yes, there was social media, but not as much as there is now.
Yeah.
And so, you know, my dad wanted to make sure that we did the face-to-face thing and make sure people realize the Spud was still there. Like, it never left.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you know, we may have new menu items. We may have this. We may have that. Come by. Come see what we have, you know. And so, you know, it was his idea to go knock on doors and knock on different businesses and say, hey, you know, we're here. Here's our menu. Come by.
Yeah.
And so
they're doing it the old-fashioned way, really.
Old-fashioned way. And
there's something to be said about word of mouth.
Yes.
And just putting in the FaceTime.
Yes. And he definitely did that. And
because you can spend all the money in the world on advertising,
Oh
but when you make that human connection with people, I feel like that really makes an impact.
It does.
More than anything else.
It does. And then we definitely saw, you know, an increase in traffic after that too. So I think that was great. We did go from having, so it was, whenever we purchased it, it was the owner, and then he only had one staff member there. And I know. And so we now have 5. We're actually looking to hire someone else, but that's been a little difficult lately. But yeah, you know, just trying to incorporate more people to help with the running and not being afraid to, you know, to pay these people because they are helping us. Like, we're helping each other. It's not just, you know.
Symbiotic relationship.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
You need the workers.
And
they need the money.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
income.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So just, you know, reaching out is
Yeah.
what we definitely did. I feel like a little differently
Yeah.
than what was already done.
Yeah, that human connection.
I want to get some clarification on something. When starting the business, your parents didn't have any previous experience in owning a business, right?
Well, okay, I want to say no, but my dad did have a little tile company back in the day, like 20, maybe now. I mean, forever ago.
Even before his Temple Inland days.
It was like a side thing.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a full-time position or business. So I feel like it counts as far as like learning what maybe not to do and how to do certain things. But it wasn't a full-time thing.
Okay.
So yeah, they went in.
But they'd never done restaurants before.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a whole other animal.
Never.
So I mean, what I'm curious about is, you know, who did they turn to for advice or get their inspiration or resources from? Or did they just figure it out as they went along?
That's exactly what they did.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was so hard for them. And, you know, the thing is, though, that they didn't make it known that it was difficult and, you know, struggling. Like, okay, well, this is where we're at now. What can work instead of, you know, doing A, B, or C, right? Let's figure out option D. And it's been day by day learning, and which is why I feel like, you know, I wanted to chip in with, I mean, I didn't have any expertise either in the social media or marketing, but, you know, trying to see, you know, let's take that route, right? Especially like you mentioned earlier, when COVID started, you know, we were very worried. Obviously, no one had gone through that, you know, recently or ever.
Not in modern times, anyway.
Right. And so we were very worried, and I was like, how can we go about fixing this problem that we may have or run into? And I feel like even after COVID, you know, traffic has increased too, because at that point, you know, you couldn't go into restaurants.
Yeah, you guys are a drive-through location. I mean, you have these outside, like, picnic tables, which is perfect for a pandemic because you're not in a confined space.
Exactly.
But having a drive-through,
we are a drive-through.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's just, that, I mean, to me, that was the drive-thrus are busy.
We were built for
packed.
this.
Yeah.
I know. And that's
kind of nice.
It was very nice.
We struggled because our location doesn't have a drive-through. And we were actually at the, you know, in the process of looking for land to build a small little like standalone place for a drive-through, you know, in a highly trafficked area, just because people were like, oh, we wish you guys had a drive-through. And then of course COVID happened and that sort of, you know, derailed the plans a little bit.
Right.
But I almost kind of wish we had just pushed on and done it, because
you just don't know, though. Like you said earlier, taking that risk, especially during a pandemic.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, we were able to apply for some of those PPP loans and qualified, so but that wasn't, it wasn't going to pay for things indefinitely.
Right.
You know, and you know, really, I think it boiled down to being able to take care of our employees.
Yes.
And make sure that they knew that they still had a job when this all was over.
Yeah.
So, and maybe pay them for a little part-time work to come in and clean and do things,
oh, cool.
you know, while we were shut down. I think we were only shut down for 3 weeks, 2 weeks? Do you remember, Megan?
I don't remember exactly because
it feels like 5 years ago.
I was gonna say, and yesterday at the same time, and you're like, what?
So it was around 2 to 3 weeks that Standpipe was closed.
Even though we weren't forced to do so, it was still considered quote an essential business. But you know, never having gone through that experience, it's like, okay, we need to probably change cleaning protocols, and we need to put up a thing so, you know, people coming in to order, and we need to establish a call-in drive-up section, you know, so you could drive up and text your order, and
that takes
and
a lot
you're having
of
to do all that
work.
stuff on the fly, and we had to come up with it within, you know, 2 or 3 weeks and get it in place,
right?
You know,
and then execute it,
and then execute it,
right?
So yeah, I mean, it's I have a that compassion for all small businesses in that position, and the fact that you guys were already just sort of set up for that.
We were
great.
So blessed to have
we
that.
ate there several times.
Yes,
last year.
Definitely.
Well, thank you.
I was like, okay, well, they can't. There's nobody coming in that place. It's just the workers, so we're good to go. Let's just order what we need.
Yeah. That segues really well into our next question, which is, you know, it's not always smooth sailing when you're running a business. So what were some of the obstacles that you and your family encountered that were challenging, and how did y'all overcome them?
Outside of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, that's a huge thing.
That's like the biggest obstacle that anybody's gone through.
Exactly. Well, so as I mentioned, my parents, they didn't go to college for this, so it's just that learning curve, right?
Yeah.
And along with that, it would be the technology. They're not tech savvy. You know, my dad didn't want a smartphone for years. He rather do the face-to-face, right? And that's where I jumped in. So with the tech stuff, and, you know, they have now different organizations that help them with their computer and modem and whatever the
point of sale system.
Thank you. I was like, what is it called? Yes, the POS. Because when we started there, they didn't have a system. And so incorporating that and then learning it too was tough, right?
Yeah.
And just to change
it's
everything.
a lot to do all at one time.
So much to do. And it did take us a couple years to start that, just because it was like, do we pay for this? Are we going to be able to? Is it actually going to work out for us? But now, if we didn't have that, oh my goodness.
Yeah, everybody has a debit card these days. Yeah. Almost no one pays in cash.
No one pays.
So if you don't have some sort of POS system to sort of, you know, facilitate the use of credit cards and debit cards, you're going to be in a problem spot.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, that was definitely tough. And then my mom not being there, like my mom actually is the attendance clerk at the Hudson Middle School.
Okay.
And so she has her own full-time job, and then going after her full-time job to go do the books. My mom was actually a bookkeeper for an attorney for years at the same time that she nannied. I call him
Super Mom.
Yeah. I always say she took care of a little boy. He's 29 now. He's not little, but I still call. I mean, he's like a brother to me. But
time flies, right?
Time flies. Like, how old am I again? Yes. So her doing her full-time job and still trying to help run the business has been, I don't want to say a huge challenge, but for her, you know, it can
a lot
be
of juggling.
It is. Yeah. So, just like I said, learning as you go and learning from your mistakes.
I'm always curious with restaurant businesses, you know, how do you get to a place where you know how much to order? Because you don't want to order too much of one thing or too little and run out. How do y'all figure that out? Does it just take time?
It takes time.
Do y'all keep like a real strict inventory, and do you have like an automatic ordering system?
So we use a company that does deliver, and you know, every week my dad will message him like, hey, his name is Jack. Hey Jack, we need A, B, and C, and we need 10 of A and however many. Like, it's just, my dad visually just sees it.
Yeah.
And the manager too. Like, you just know somehow.
I think you do it for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just like, oh, yeah, we got to get this much. And
yeah. And the hard thing I have noticed is estimating how many potatoes to put in the oven before the end of the day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because we hate disappointing our customers. How, you know, you think of like, how does a potato place not have potatoes? Well, it takes a while to bake the potatoes.
Yeah. And there's only so much room in an oven.
Right. And some days it's slower, and then you don't want to have 2 trays of potatoes left, or you not have enough. So
there's a lot. That's the thing that's why I say restaurant businesses are so hard, because there's so much. There can be so much waste if you're not constantly monitoring those things, and then you're losing out on money. You know. Sure. So yeah, that's That's a hard thing, and I'm always curious because, like, we just did coffee and tea and smoothies and things like that, and so the big thing for us was milk, believe it or not, making sure we always had a good milk supply that was fresh, or running out of milk in the middle of a shift and somebody has to emergency run to the store and buy some.
Which has happened.
We have that too. Like, oh my gosh, we ran out of avocados or
whatever. We only have so much refrigerator space.
Oh, that's right.
So you can only buy so much at a time. Well, I remember one Christmas parade, it was so busy, we had to send people in the middle of the parade to Brookshire's or H-E-B and buy all their milk pretty much.
You're like, sorry,
to
everyone.
be able to like continue on.
Yeah.
And so things like that, I'm always curious how people handle it. I just know for us, it's just sort of fly by the seat of our pants.
That's exactly how it is. My dad will do a run to Sam's and he's like, okay, we need more Kool-Aid, we need more of this, we need more, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. It can be tough.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like totally derail the conversation, Megan. I was just curious if they suffered the same issues we had.
That fits in with the story.
We do.
So, I want to ask now, we've talked about obstacles and difficulties. What's been one of the most fun memories in running the business? Like something that stands out to you and your parents as like, this is why we do this. This is why we are a part of the community.
Right. So, I mean, I'm going to brag on them again. My dad, when we do have those excess potatoes, he goes to Godtel and he takes them all the potatoes.
God bless him.
Yes. He won't say it. He's too shy and he's not one to brag, right?
Well, Walmart can't give the extra food. Apparently corporations can't donate their food.
Isn't it crazy? It's crazy.
So,
yeah.
I'm glad to see smaller businesses doing that when they have leftover.
He loves to do that, and I'm very proud of him because I do work in a shelter, and so knowing the need, and he tells me that the guys are like, hey, we're going to do mashed potatoes today with these, or we're going to do this with these, and I'm like, okay, that's awesome that he's doing that and it's actually helping feed people. So I see that for them. But we also love our customers that come back, right? Seeing our customers happy. We have a customer, his name is Mr. Charles. And he probably goes every day or every other day. They know his order and he keeps up with the family. He knows, he's very supportive of all the young kids that we have working there.
Yeah.
Where are you going to college? What are you doing next? When my brother was in the Marines, how's he doing? So many things. And he's the sweetest. And they have their regulars. They love that. And even our staff, they're like, oh, they literally see the car coming around. Oh, get this ready, get that ready, get 4 cups of ice, get blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what in the world?
I miss that about working in service, for sure. I worked at Standpipe from the time I was 14 to when I was almost 19. And so I totally hear that about the regular customers. They become a part of your family.
They do.
And they're a very big part of your life. And so, I mean, it's nice to hear that from another perspective.
Yeah, it's really cool. And even for me personally, through college, I worked at the credit union in Diboll, the Temple Inland Federal Credit Union. And I had my members too. Before they came to my desk, I had their accounts up, their money ready, and then we just talked the rest of the time. And they love that. And that's what our staff does. Like, they want to make sure, again, that, our customers feel also, like you said, a part of the family. And they love that. They love that for sure. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we love making sure our staff does feel like family. So having those, Christmas parties or random get-togethers or dressing up for Halloween. My dad has always been huge about Halloween, and we've dressed up every year, and so I think he incorporated that, and so now all their staff dress up every Halloween, and it's fun. Great. They send me pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so jealous.
I miss it.
I do, yeah, for sure.
What would you, if you were to have your parents answer this question, what would they say is their biggest achievement through this business, or their biggest success? Is it just the community spirit they've built, or?
So definitely the community spirit, and then not having to rely on someone else, right? And spending that time with family, going to my brother's wedding, visiting him, because we only see him maybe twice a year, and having that freedom to do that. And that's a lot. My mom poor lady only has summers off, which I'm also jealous of, but she doesn't have the flexibility that my dad has. And so he can just say, hey, you know, one time my car was messed up. He drove to San Marcos in the middle of the week, picked my car up, switched cars, and, you know, helped me out. You can't do that with, you know, a regular job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that is something that keeps them going for sure. Like
being able to have that time to just do, you know,
fun or necessary things.
Yeah.
Going to the doctor, going here, going there. Like, you can't do that. You know, if you have maybe a death in the family, you have to, like, ask off for that. And, you know, he doesn't have to. And so just talking to staff and saying, hey, do you mind if we do this? And my dad's not the type to say, hey, you have to work. Like, it's like, hey, do you mind? You know, very, very compassionate and very aware of other people's lives too. But still
valuing the people who he works with, and they value him. So when he does ask for that time off, they're like, sure.
And they're so nice. They're not even just sure. They're like, please don't call us. We're fine. Don't stress about us. And my dad's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, that's his livelihood, and he wants to make sure everything's
and he's leaving it in someone else's hands.
Yeah.
You know, that's hard.
Yeah. But he's doing so much better because we definitely trust and appreciate our staff for sure.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
What do you think that you guys have, like, learned the most about yourselves in having a business like this? What would your dad say, do you think? What's been your experience?
Just that you realize how much you can handle. I'm trying to think of the word, right?
How much you can take on.
Yeah. And I mean, my parents have gone through so much, like, not only with the Spud, but just in life. And I think, you know, that goes hand in hand because the Spud at this point is our life, right? And that's, we won't be we wouldn't be where we're at without that. So I think just, the dedication, that realizing, like, we already knew we were hard workers, but just seeing that, you know, every day, like, I'm definitely proud of them. You know, we have a lot of friends in the community, and they're like, yeah, you know, your dad's always there. We see your dad, blah, 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 your mom. I mean, they're hard workers. And just knowing that and hearing it from other people is just, that validation is very awesome. And, you know, me not being here and being able to be around 24/7, like, hearing that, it definitely helps for sure. So,
you know, we've said a lot in this interview, you know, how hard working your parents are. And I want to address that there tends to be sometimes stereotypes with certain groups of people that they don't work that hard. And in my experience, and everybody I know and I have witnessed in my life that has a Hispanic background, are the hardest working people I have ever been around.
Oh, yeah.
They just know when to take time off too, you know, and to balance their real life and their work life. And, you know, they do some of the hardest jobs. Right. And so I feel like it's necessary to say they are very hardworking people. Your parents are the pillars and the most, like, you know, obviously the grand example of that. But I think that's very important to say. Because it doesn't get said enough.
Right. And I definitely appreciate that. I really do. And, you know, we've learned that. My parents learned that from their parents, right? My mom's dad, my grandpa, he worked in the concrete business for years and years. My grandma worked at Atkins Company, candy company, for years too.
Wow.
And then my dad's mom, she pretty much stayed at home, you know, later in life. But before, I mean, she had tiny little businesses. She would do things on the side. When they lived in Mexico, she had a little store. Like, so I guess, you know, earlier you asked if the business thing was huge. It wasn't huge, but
they've done little things.
And seen that. And then my grandpa too, he, you know, both my dad's parents have passed away, but they were extremely hardworking as well throughout their entire lives. And, you know, you see that, and you know, for me being, you know, their grandchildren or grandchild, like, I don't want to let them down. So, you know, it just trickles down.
And I mean, I want to say continues to perpetuate with each generation.
Right. I mean, and I can't say everyone does that, you know, but, you know, I'm one of the oldest on both sides, cousin-wise, and so I feel like that definitely continues the hard work ethic for sure, especially when you're older, and you want to make sure
well, and it pays off. Obviously, it's you know, your dad's life has shown that, you know, he's got loyal employees. He's got a very successful business. You know, they didn't dream of this, you know, grand corporate affair. You know, they just have this great little community business, and, you know, it seems to be something that they're content in, and it's been successful, and we love the food, so you know.
Thank you. I do too.
What do you think? What advice do you think your dad would give for anybody who's wanting to do, food service industry or really any business in general. But what advice, one particular pearl of wisdom he would impart if someone were to ask him?
So I feel like he would say, just be patient. Be patient, right?
Patience is a virtue.
Yes. Because things are not going to happen from one day to the next. You want them to, of course, right? Like, sure. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Overnight TikTok sensation, millionaire, right? Like, that's not us.
Blow up, and y'all are going to have like 50 locations in the next month.
See, that would be great, but it
also brings on a whole other set of problems.
Right.
That, you're either going to have all this money or you're going to have some time. Which one's more important?
Yes.
Yes. In the grand scheme of things.
Right. And we definitely value the time, right? So that's why, we don't want to do too much because we love that time and spend it. We know time is precious and we want to spend time with family.
You can't take it all with you when you go anyway, so you might as well spend some of it while you're here. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I mean, I know you said one thing, but they want to make sure that, it does, that you realize it takes a lot of sacrifice, kind of like what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not just, like I mentioned earlier, just no hard work, no nothing. It's just going to be overnight. No, like, you're going to work hard. You're going to work long hours. You're going to stress out, not have money. Yeah, exactly.
Of owning a business are the make it or break it years.
Exactly.
They say if you can make it to, the first 3 or 4 years,
then you're
5
good.
years, then you're fine. Yeah. And you're just going to coast after that for the most part, unless some major catastrophe comes up. But you can tell the businesses who navigated that pretty well and the ones that didn't and the ones that have suffered for it. So, their experience and having been established for a while, I'm sure helped them kind of keep their footing under them
for sure
and move forward during that time.
Yeah.
And, having drive-through
was perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
So what do you think the future holds for you guys? I mean, obviously going to keep running the Spud. Does he plan on opening any future locations or branching out into other businesses or anything he can share publicly at this point?
Well, he's definitely, we've definitely been interested in expanding and opening up different locations for sure. And that was right before COVID, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so that's kind of been put on hold, like you were talking about earlier too. And you just don't know how long is this going to last? What does the market look like for places that now want to rent because the previous place may not have, survived past COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, that's definitely in the plans, but definitely thinking about the financials and, the time.
There's a lot of things to consider.
Yes, so many things.
And, if you're not a gambling kind of person and you're much more, I need stability, this can be a really tricky time on how to grow and expand your business and scale it up if that's what your intent was, because it's kind of like, I don't want to make a misstep because things have been so uneasy, so I totally get that.
Yeah.
But hopefully we see more.
I know. He's always mentioned, I'm going to open up one, here or there. And I'm like, okay, let's look into it. So, if and when that happens, I'm going to put it on my social media. Yeah, I will let everyone know.
Definitely.
For sure.
Good deal. Well, tell everybody where they can find the Spud physically and on the internet.
So we are here in Lufkin. We are at 1001 South Chestnut, so right where the bowling alley was, like right next door. And then online at the Spud Lufkin on both Instagram and Facebook. So make sure you follow us.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of cool pictures of the potatoes, and I'll post like if we have different things going on too, so you can keep yourselves updated on what we're doing. So
good deal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having us. I really appreciate that for sure.
I'm excited that y'all would agree to come on and share your story. It's been a joy talking to you.
Thank you.
So thank you for sharing that with us, and I hope our listeners enjoyed it. You guys tune in next time for the next business and the next industry that we talk about, and we'll see you next time. Do you have a story to tell? We want to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast and share your story, contact us on our website at PaynePoints.com or any of the social media linked on our website. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. We'd appreciate a review, a like, or a comment to let us know what you think. You can find all of our podcasts linked on our website under the podcast tab. Once again, thanks for joining us, and we want to wish everybody a wonderful day.